So I will delete everything I have here. So let's say we have a loop. We want to explain two words. The first is break and the second is continue. So let's discuss the first one, break. Let's assume I have a loop like this. Remember I said range 6 is something that looks like this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is range 6. So X will stand for each value in this place. So X will first be 0, then it's going to do whatever you have here. This is like a revision of our last class. So X will first be 0, it will print hello. X will be 1, it will print hello. X will be 2, it will print hello. X will be 3, it will print hello. X will be 4, it will print hello. X will be 5, it will print hello. Next, if I say print X, what will I say? If we say print X, what are we going to say based on the explanation of our last class?
I see the range of value from 0 to 5.
Sir?
Range of values from 0 to 5.
Thank you, sir. It's a print range of values from 0 to 5. It means X will first be 0, it will print 0, then it will print 1, it will print 2, it will print 3, it will print 4, it will print 5. So it stops there. Now, let's now look at this word break. One thing I want us to notice is immediately Python sees this word break, it will terminate the loop. Like it will stop it at that point. Whenever Python sees this word break, it will terminate the loop. So let's see what happens here. If I run this code, what do you think I will see? Based on the explanation, like I said, immediately Python sees this word break, it will terminate the loop. So if I run this, what do you think I will see?
I think only 0.
Thank you, sir. It will say 0. Perfect. Because X will first be 0 and it will print X, which is 0. Then it will see this word break. Instantly, it will terminate that loop. Good. Let's proceed. I can now say if X equals to 4, break, then we can say, let's say print X. If X equals to 4, break. So what do you think this will give us if you run it?
Zero, 1, 2, 3.
0, 1, 2, 3. Contrary opinion.
0 to 4.
Good.
0 to 4.
Thank you, sir. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. X will first be 0. It will print X, which is 0. This condition is not so, so it's not going to see break. X will be 1. It will print X, which is 1. This condition is not 2, it's not going to see break. X will be 2. It will print 2. This condition is not so. X will be 3. It will print 3. This condition is not so. X will be 4. It will print 4. Then this condition is 2 now. X is 4. So it's going to see the break and it will terminate. So we're going to see 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's move on. So that is how to see the word break. To use the word break. Now, classwork. Based on this explanation, maybe I want it to stop the loop when the value of X is, let's say, I want to see these values 0, 1, and 2. I want to see just 3 values, 0, 1, and 2. So what do I change here? I just want to see these 3 values. Without changing the line 1, I want to see 0, 1, and 2. What do I change? Like I want you to print 0, 1, and 2 out. This same loop. What this for loop? I want you to print just 0, 1, and 2 out. What do I change? Here, what do I write here?
We first write print
Okay, sir.
x.
Print X. Okay, sir.
So if now write if s now break. Sorry, if s is equal to 2.
Correct. Thank you, sir. Break. So this will give us 0, 1, and 2. Let's just run this out so that it won't just seem as though we are only saying it without running it. So we've looked at how to use the word break. Let's go to the next one. Continue. We want to look at the word continue. And let's see how that works. Whenever Python sees this word continue, it's going to omit. In fact, I want you, a better way to see this word continue is to assume it is skip. Just look at it as skip. I think that will help us. When Python sees this word continue, it's going to omit all the codes starting from that line to the end of the loop. I will explain this better. Again, it's going to omit all the codes starting from that line to the end of the loop. So let's do something. Let's say I have print hello. I have continue. I have print hi. I have print. Good. Let's stop here. So I have these 4 lines in this loop. X will first be 0. It will print hello. After printing hello, it's going to see this word continue. Because of that, it's going to omit everything from that line to the end of the loop. Again, immediately it sees the word continue, it's going to omit everything from that line to the end of the loop and jump back up. So X will now be 1. It will print hello again. Then it will see this word continue. It's going to omit all of this again. X will be 2. Let me start afresh. Remember, range 6 is like this: 0, 1, 2, 3. This is how range 6 looks like. X will first be the first value here, which is 0. Then it will print hello. Then it's going to see this word continue, meaning it's going to skip everything from that part to the end of the loop. When it gets to the end of the loop, it comes back here, then S becomes 1. It will print hello again and sees this word continue, meaning it's going to skip everything again. Jumps back up, S becomes 2. Print hello, sees this word continue, skips everything. S becomes 3. Print hello, sees this word continue, then skips everything. S becomes 4. Print hello, sees this word continue, then it's going to skip everything. S becomes 5. Print hello, then it's going to see this word continue and skip everything. So whenever Python sees this word continue, it's going to omit all the codes from that point to the end of the loop, like to the end of the loop. Do we understand the explanation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So, how will we remove this from now? Oops. Then run this so that we see the result ourselves. So we only have hello. We only have hello. So we can now say if x is equal to
Hello, sorry.
yes sir.
All right. So immediately after Python says the word continue, it skips everything below it and go back to the beginning of the loop. Am I right?
Yes sir.
Now, after completing everything in the loop, it's not even going back to everything below it again.
No,
It's just
continue only works for what is in that loop alone. It's going to skip everything below it that is in that loop.
I understand. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Then what I'm saying is, after completing what is in that loop, on before the word continue, everything below it, it won't go back to it. That's
No.
what you're saying.
It will never go back to it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So let's move on. Next is, imagine this. So if I run this, what are we going to see? If we run this, what are we going to see? Are we together?
Yes. I think we are going to see nothing.
Okay. Any contrary opinion?
Well, I'm thinking of two things.
Okay.
I think we are, like what Mr. Akintoye said, we might see nothing, or since print is like a command also, we might see 0, 1, 2, 3. So I don't know whichever one.
Okay, let's look
of
at
the
it
two.
together. Again, we know that range 6 is like this. X will first be 0. Is this condition so? No. X is not equal to 0. So it's not going to enter this if, meaning it's not going to see this word continue. It will print X, meaning it will print 0. Then comes back up, X becomes 1. Is this condition true? No, it won't see this word continue. It will just jump here and it will print X, which is 1. S becomes 2. Is this condition true? No, it's not going to see this. It will jump here, prints 2. Then S becomes 3. Is this condition true? Yes, X equals to 3. So it will enter this if part and it's going to see this word continue. Because of that, it will skip everything from that part to the end of the loop. So it's going to skip this print X. It's not going to print 3. It will just jump back up so that it becomes 4. Is this condition true? No, it's not going to see the word continue. It will just jump here and print 4. Then S becomes 5. Is this condition true? No, it's not going to see the word continue. It will print X, which is 5. So at the end of the day, you will see 0, 1, 2, 4, 5. Do we get the explanation, or I should come again?
You can come again, sir.
Okay, let's take it again. We know that range 6 is like this. X will first be 0. Is 0 equals to 3? No. This continue is inside this if. Meaning that the only condition, or the only thing that will make it see the word continue is if this condition is true. And we know that X is not equal to 3 because X is 0. 0 is not equal to 3. So because of that, it won't see the word continue. In fact, it's not going to enter this if part at all because the condition is not true. It will just come to this place. This is outside the if parts. Remember, indentation is very important in Python. This print X is not within this if, it's outside it. So it's going to print X, which is 0. Do we get that part?
Yes.
Okay, so X becomes 1. When it's done, X becomes 1. Is this condition true? No. So it's not going to enter this place. So because of that, it won't see the word continue. So it will come to this place and print X. So it's going to print 1. When it's done, it comes there, x becomes 2. Is this condition true? No. It won't see continue. It will come here and print x, which is 2. Then x becomes 3. Is this condition true? Yes. 3 is equals to 3. So because of that, it will enter this if part and do whatever we have there. What we have here is continue. And I said whenever Python sees this word continue, that means skip everything from that point to the end of the loop. To the end of the loop. So it's going to skip everything from here to the end of this loop. So next, it will come to this place. Once it's done, since it has skipped everything here, it will just jump back to the top and go to the next one. So x becomes 4. Remember, it's not going to print 3 because this continue is going to make it skip everything to the end of the loop. So it's not going to be able to print 3. So it will just jump here and x becomes 4. Is this condition true? No. It's not going to enter this place. It will just come to this place and print x, which is 4. Then when it's done, x becomes 5. Is this condition true? No. It's not going to see the word continue. It will just jump here and print 5. So at the end of the day, it will print 0, 1, 2, 4, and 5. Do we get the explanation?
Yes.
Okay. So let's remove this and run this. So we have 0, 1, 2, 4, 5. Any question on the word break and continue? On these two words, break and continue. Okay. So before we leave this part, now of course I'm going to give us a task to do on it. I want to quickly explain something called modulo. I don't know if you've come across it at any point in time. Modulo. Please, has any of us come across this word, modulo?
Is it percentage?
Percentage, yes. Modulo means, it just simply means remainder after division. You just by the way, but I think it's very important because of the task I want to give us next. Modulo stands for remainder after division. And the sign for modulo in Python is percentage. And in fact, in most programming languages, I think it's percentage. Modulo stands for remainder after division. That is what remains after dividing something. So, and the sign is percentage, at least in Python. So let's look at examples together. If I say 6 modulo 3, what is 6 divided by 3? What is 6 divided by 3?
2.
2. What's the remainder?
0.
0. So 6 modulo 3 is 0 because this is the remainder. Do we get it? So if we have a variable, let's say we have variable a equals to 6 modulo 3. So the value of a is actually 0. Modulo only checks for remainder after division. Let's look at another example again. What is 5 modulo 2? What is 5 divided by 2? What is 5 divided by 2? Are we together? Can we hear me? What? What's going on? Hello everyone.
Hello.
No, we lost you for
I
some
lost
minutes
my
there.
connection because of the class. I don't know what went wrong. I just suddenly lost my connection. Please, let's continue, please. Let me share my screen with us again. Can we see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you. So what is 5 modulo 2? What is 5 divided by 2?
1.
Okay, so 5 modulo 2 is 2 remainder 1. So the answer is 1. 5 divided by 2 is 2 remainder 1. So 5 modulo 2 is 1. Let's look at another example again. So the answer to this is equal to 1. Another example. What is 2 modulo, let's say, 7? Now, 2 divided by 7, you can say that 7 cannot divide 2. So meaning that 7 will not be able to cut 2. And because of that, your 2 will remain intact. So 2 modulo 7 will still remain 2. Whenever the numerator is lesser than the denominator, the answer will still be the numerator also. So because this 7 will not be able to cut this 2, you won't be able to divide it. So this 2 will still remain intact. So whenever the numerator is lesser than the denominator, then your answer will still remain the numerator. Do we get it?
Come again, sir.
Okay, so these are examples. You said?
Come again, sir.
Okay. I said whenever this 2 modulo 7, this is the upper part, and this is the lower part. Whenever the upper part is lower than the lower part, your answer will remain the upper part.
Okay.
So 2 modulo 7 is 2. 15 modulo 30 is 15. So whenever this is lesser than this, the answer will always remain this. Because this 30 will not be able to cut this, and this will still remain the answer. So modulo stands for remainder after division. Remainder after division. What is left after dividing it? So do we get the explanation of modulo now?
Yes.
Okay. Now to our task, we are rounding off. To our task. Using the range, you know this is, if I say, look at something. If I say print x, this will print out the number between 0 to 20, that's 0 to 19. So one thing I want you to do is I want you to run this so that it's going to print out only the odd numbers between 0 to 20, meaning to only print out, what is it, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. It will only print out the odd numbers between 0 to 20. So that will be our assignment for today, and in our next class we are going to look at that together. So meaning we are going to check 2 assignments in our next class, the last assignment given to us last week and the current one. So before we go, do we have any issue with our last assignment? Maybe you are stuck at any point and you feel you want to discuss it in class. Please can you bring it up, or where do you stop? No one has completed it yet. No one. So where are you? I believe that the reason why we are here to complete is because probably we are stuck at one point or the other. So where are you stuck at the moment? If you are, and if you have not started it, please start it as soon as possible. Please, where are we?
Alright, I got stuck.
Okay, you got stuck.
Yeah, I got stuck at getting the result of each of the votes.
Getting the result of
Yeah.
okay for each of the votes.
I could get um, I've gotten the loop. He has given me print. Thank you for voting. And after that, after all the voting section has completed, to say voting has closed. I've gotten that. But to not get the result of which one is Tai, how many votes for Tai, how many votes for Ken, how many votes, that is where the problem is. That's where I'm struggling.
To solve that, you can initialize three variables to 0. Three variables. One will stand for Taye's vote, one will stand for Kenny's vote, and the third will stand for Idowu's votes. So you are going to initialize. You can initialize three variables to 0. So if anybody votes for Taye, you will increase the value of the Taye variable by 1, meaning it becomes 1. If anybody votes for Kenny, you will increase the value of the Kenny's variable by 1. And if anybody votes for Idowu, you can increase the value of the Idowu's variable by 1 also. So again, you can initialize three variables. And equate them, initialize them to 0. Three variables. So if anybody votes for Taye, you will pick one of them and increase the value by 1. Then, if anybody votes for Kenny, you pick the second one, increase it by 1. If anybody votes for Idowu, you pick the third one and increase it by 1. I think that should solve the problem. Do you understand the hints?
Yeah, but I'm just looking at where to initialize it. Is it in the midst of the first the function or in the midst of the second function? I'm just trying to.
Well, one thing you might have is if you initialize it as a local variable, each time you call on that function, it will start again from 0. So you can initialize as a global variable to make your work easy. What do I mean? Please.
To initialize it as a global variable.
Yes. Let's maybe explain what I just said here. Let's say I have this, and I have x plus 2, x plus equals to 2, and I have point x. Each time I call on this function, it will always set the value of x to 5. Then add 2 to it, making 7, print x. If I call on the function again, it will set the value of x again to 5. Add 2 to it and set it to and print 7. Something like this. This is what I'm saying. If I call on this function first time, and I call on this function second time, let's call on it one more time. If I call on it the first time, it's going to set the value of x to 5, add 2 to it, making x becomes 7, then print x, that is 7. If I call on it again, x becomes 5, it will again initialize the value of x again to 5. That's what I want us to know. Each time you call on this function, it will always run all the codes here. Meaning, each time you call on it, it will always create a new container called x, set the value to 5, add 2 to it, and print out the result, making 7. If I call on it the third time again, it's going to do the same thing. Set the value of x to 5, add 2 to it, making 7, print x. But look at this scenario. X is 5. If I call on this function the first time, it's going to, I can come here and say global x like this, so that whenever we call on x here, it's a global variable. So let's see what happens. When we call on it here, it's going to add to the value of x becomes 7, then print x, so it's going to print 7. When you call on it again, it's going to pick the last value of x and add 2 to it, making 9, then print x, that is 9. So when you call on it again, it's going to add 2 to it, making 11, and it's going to print 11. Do we get the difference?
Yes. Yes.
If it's inside, if it's here as a local variable, each time you call on this function, it will always do everything you have here. Let me comment this out. It will always do everything you have here. And what you have here is, you are saying that create a container for us, label x, and set the value of that container to 5. Add 2 to whatever is inside that container and set it back. Remember, I explained to us that this is the same thing as saying this. This same as saying x equals to x plus 2. So meaning that add 2 to the value of x and set it back. So x becomes 7. Plaint x is going to plaint 7. When you call on the function again, meaning that you are saying not all the codes here. That is, initialize another variable, like create a container for us. So it's going to create a new container which is different from the last container. It's going to create another container called x, and it will put 5 inside it. This will add 2 to the value of that container and set it back. So x becomes 7, and this will plaint x. When you call on this function again, it's going to run all the codes here again. What it's going to do is to create another container again, which is different from the last 2 containers that you created. It's going to create a new one entirely, and it's going to label it x. It will insert 5 inside it. It's going to add 2 to that container, to whatever value is inside that container, and set it back. So x is now 7, then plaint x is going to plaint 7. So if you call on this function 3 times, it will always plaint 7. But if it's like, do we get the explanation of that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. But if it's a global variable, like this, like this. So when you call on this function, remember, when you run this code, it first creates this container and it inserts 5 inside it. So when you call on this function, it's going to run all the codes here. So since you've already declared this as a global variable, what it's going to now do is, if you now go to the already created container, which is this, add 2 to it and set it back. So the value of this container is no longer 5, but is now 7. So this is 27. When you call on this function again, it's going to say, oh, go straight to that container, which is now 7, add 2 to it, making 9. Then set it back. So x is now 9. Plaint x is going to plaint 9. So when you call on this function again, it will run all these codes again. So go straight to that container, 9, add 2 to it, making 11, and set it back. X is now 11. So plaint x, making 11. So I believe this should help us with the assignment at hand.
Yeah, but my question now is, how many global variables are we going to now have?
That is down to you. I think I've explained everything around that part enough. But you will understand it. Just start working on it. Like I said, you're going to create 3 variables for the 3 participants. One for Taye, one for Kenny, one for Idowu. Then whenever anybody votes for Taye, then you pick that Taye's variable and add 1 to it. Whenever anybody votes for Kenny, you pick the Kenny's variable and add 1 to it. Whenever anybody votes for Idowu, you pick the Idowu variable and add 1 to it. I think that explains the question.
Alright.
Any other question?
Okay, just a comment from me. I've done the global variable part, but I'm not getting the result. But maybe I will have to try it again. Maybe I didn't put it where I'm supposed to put it. But I will have to try it again and see if I will get the result.
Alright. There's others.
Good evening, Taye.
Yes, I'm with you. Good evening. Good evening.
From the assignment, the aspect of me sending I'm sorry, let me just view the like now after sending it, like the voting system, global norm and others, so it's not repeating the welcome to enter people that will vote. It's not bringing that one continuously. Like after entering 5, it will bring either 1 for Taye, 2 for Kenny, 3 for Idowu. Then once I press 1, it will bring. Once I press 1, it will bring. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. If I press 1 now, it will bring the option of thank you for voting. If I press 2, thank you for voting Kehinde. But instead of the option of input that name to continue bringing it until it is 5, it stopped bringing it at 3.
At 3. You mean after
at
the
3,
third?
like after bringing 1. Do you get my question at all?
Please come again.
My question is, after imputing the name, like it will enter the number of people that will vote.
Yes.
I entered 5.
Yes.
So after entering 5, it brought the options, the user option, like 1 Taye, 2 Kenny.
Yes.
So after that one, after entering 3, like I want to vote for Idowu now.
Yes.
And enter, if I press enter, instead of it to bring the welcome to the voting app.
Yeah.
Vote, enter the number of people that will vote. He
Yes.
brought it just 3 times. Then after that third one, he stopped bringing it, and I entered for like it was 5 times that they will vote, like 5 people that will vote. So
Okay.
he brought it just 3 times instead
Okay.
of bringing it to repeatedly for 5 times.
Okay. What can be
Then the
responsible?
other one, we've answered this in class.
Okay. I think what is responsible, or what is likely, which because I'm yet to see your code.
Ma?
What I think is responsible is this. Probably you made this
Okay.
a static, something like this. You made it static.
I didn't get it. Hello?
Don't worry, you understand me now.
Hello? I didn't
So
get that.
probably you made whatever is here. You made it static. You put a whole number there. Probably. What is here? The value here should not be a static number. It should not be a static. This is static now. It shouldn't be a static number. It should be whatever value. It should be dependent on whatever value the user enters here. If you made, for instance, if I say print hello, oops. If I say print hello, if I run this code, it's going to show hello 3 times. Is this 3 now? 0, 1, oh, 2 times. Sorry, 2 times. Let me say, you know, the range 3 is like this 0, 1.
Sorry to interrupt you. Another thing, I was not in class when you taught the range. So I stated when I submitted the assignment that I did not know how to apply the range because I was not in class.
Yes, we recorded the class and the link was sent to the group.
I listened to the video. Actually, it's my fault. I'm not saying anything. I'm just trying to state it there that I really don't know how to apply it. After reading it, I still don't know where to put it to bring the whole thing. That's why I got confused. Then I just listened to the video because I know I am not supposed to even say this because it's no one's fault for me not to be in class. But
Which one do you
regardless,
have
I still want to
after
know it.
watching the video?
Yeah, you explained the range like for S in the range 6, it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But me applying it in the question is where I don't know how to or where to apply it.
Okay. Now, this is it. If I put range 3 here, range 3 stands for something like this. So x will first be 0.
Yeah.
Then x will be 1. X will first be 0. It's going to do everything here. Then x becomes 1. Then it's going to do everything here. Then x becomes 2. Then it's going to do everything here. So I want to ask you a question. If I want to see hello
Okay.
5 times, what am I going to do? If I want it to print hello 5 times, what am I going to do?
It's to be for S in the range of 4. S in the range of 5. Rather.
Good. So x will first be 0, then x becomes 1, then x becomes 2, x becomes 3, x becomes 4. You're correct. So this is going to print hello 5 times. So if I want to print hello 10 times, then this becomes this, right? So that means that
Yes.
whatever value is here, whatever value we have here, determines the number of times is going to run this loop. Now, if I now decide to make this a static value, this is a static value that is not dependent on users' input. This is just 10. Like if I run this code 1,000,000 times, it's always print hello 10 times. So if I make this a static value, then it means that it's not going to be it will always do the same thing over and over again. But maybe I don't want it to be static. I want it to be dynamic. That is, maybe I want to do something like this to the user. I want to say, maybe enter input. I want to do something like this. Enter the number of times you want to see hello, something like this. I want to do something like this to the user.
Okay.
Enter the number of times you want to see hello. Then, if I still run the same code, it will always print hello 10 times, meaning that it's not dependent on users' input, right? So what do you think we can do to make this value dependent on users' input? What do you think we can do? So that if the user, let's say assume the user types 5 here, we want it to display hello 5 times. What do you think we can do?
I think for S to be maybe we should name a variable x.
We should name a variable x, okay? Name a variable x, done.
Okay, then after naming a variable x, then it will be impute.
Okay.
I don't know. Let me not say rubbish. I don't know. I don't
Please,
understand.
I even want to hear that rubbish. Like, that's why I'm asking. I want to see how much you understand. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm even saying. Like, I actually want to see.
Okay.
how
Let
much
me
you
let me
understand
just
it.
say, like, after naming the variable x, then in the front of the before the impute, it will not be impute the number of range or so. I don't know. Like for the number of x in range, so
Like
so
this?
so impute.
Do you mean this?
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
Ma?
Do you mean this?
Yes.
Okay, that's on it. Let's see the results. So we still have LO 10 times. It's still not doing what we want. Now, I said something the other time that what is here is the one responsible for the number of times. Meaning that
Yes.
all I just need to do is to ensure that whatever the user types here, find its way here. So
Yeah.
that if the user types 5 here, the 5 will find its way here. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So I can save this as a variable. Then the A can now find its way here. So that if the user type 5 here, that becomes for x in range 5, since 5 is the value of A. So that's going to make it print LO 5 times. If the user type 20 here, that becomes for x in range 20. Do you get the explanation?
Like if the user impute 20, then it will bring LO 20 times.
Yes, but ignore this.
Can you just run it?
One thing I want, ignore this part. Like, this explanation is even more important than making it work. I really want you to get the explanation. When I had 10 here,
Okay.
that becomes for x in range
Yes.
10, right? Meaning, what you're just saying is print LO 10 times. So, if I change this to 5, then it's going to print LO 5 times, right? Because of this 5.
5 times. Yes.
What we just want
Yeah.
to do is, we want the user to type a number here and save it as value of A. Then find a way of bringing that number here, so that this will no longer be 5, but this will now be A. So that,
Okay.
let's assume the user types 7 here, that this now becomes for x in range 7, because A is 7. Let's
Yeah.
assume the user types 15 here, this becomes for x in range 15, because A is 15. Do you get it?
Yes, I got it.
So now that means the value of A is not static, it is now dynamic, it's changing based on users' inputs. But there's
Yes.
a little thing we have to fix, just change it to integer. So this is now an integer. So remember, whatever you are getting from an input is a string, so we are just changing it to an integer. So that let's assume the user
Integer.
types 7 here, this is now going to print, this becomes for x in range 7. So let's say I type 7, this becomes 7. Let's run it again. Let's say I type 3, this becomes 3. Do you get the explanation?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay, so go and use this knowledge for the assignment. Any other
Thank you.
person? You're welcome. Any other person?
Oh, we finish.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much for coming to class. We meet on Wednesday. On Wednesday, please let's get the assignment done so that we can do the solution to the 2 pending assignment. Our last assignment, I still want to extend it a bit, but it's because we are not yet done with it. I still want to add some things to it to make it more interesting. But when we are done with it, we meet next class, we do the solution, then I add whatever I want to add to it. I add it to it. Thank you. Have a lovely night. Rest.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.